Can I ask you to talk about the Gulf countries where you have spent so much of your professional time? Do you believe that the strategy by Iran was clear that if you're going to hit us in this way, we're going to hit you where it hurts, which is the global economy? Do you believe that that was, what are the repercussions of that? Because, of course, global trade, global economy, aviation is all hit. But do you believe that that was a mistake, or that is something that is going to create pressure on the Americans? How do you see it?
It's very difficult to understand because this is one of the most pointless conflicts that one can imagine. The principles involved with it, Israel and the United States had never clearly told us what is the conflict about. What are you so angry about that you have to go and bomb the country and kill its top leadership? I don't understand. We have had Secretary of State Rubio tell us that the Israelis started the war and we got in because we were afraid that the Iranians would hit our assets. And that's why we got into the war. Then Donald Trump corrects him and says, no, I am the one who put pressure on the Israeli side, and because of my pressure, the Israelis initiated the war. At various times, Donald Trump has told us that he was trying to destroy the nuclear capability or the ballistic missile capability. Sometimes we hear that it could be regime change because after Ayatollah Khamenei passed away, he said he is the most evil person on earth. This is the kind of very strange mindset of some of these leaders who undertake conflict and leave behind an extraordinary trail of death and destruction without any sense of purpose, without any motivation, without any understanding of the end game, and without any prospect of when to declare that we have achieved our aims. Today, I have heard President Trump saying he wants the armed forces to surrender. You have just killed their supreme leader, and you say that they should surrender. Surrender why? Many of them may accept martyrdom rather than surrender. I am shocked to see the abysmal ignorance of important American leaders who are engaged with politics in the region. Recall here just a few days ago, Mr. Witkoff says on Fox News, we have mobilized such a huge military force, and Donald Trump is unable to understand why they won't capitulate. I mean, which world are you living in? This is most bewildering, and it is something that makes no sense whatsoever to me. So, in this background, the Iranians had made it very clear that they will hit American assets in the neighborhood. The entire neighborhood in front of them, the Gulf Arab countries, they have got American bases and major American presence. This is unfortunately the best that the Iranians can do. This is the firepower available with them. They have attacked certain iconic infrastructure as well as energy facilities besides the American targets. Possibly their intention is to get these Gulf countries to agitate the matter in Washington and call a halt to this pointless conflict so that some semblance of stability is recovered. Otherwise, you are looking at a very serious problem relating to global energy. I'm not talking about Hormuz. Hormuz may or may not be closed. I'm talking about serious problems relating to the supply. And then you would have prices going up. Is this what the international community wanted to have? High prices, high energy prices, which were inevitable once you started this conflict. All of us know the mantra that is most significant is very easy to start a war, almost impossible to end it on terms that are acceptable and satisfactory to you.
Absolutely.
All of us who are students of conflict are familiar with this adage, and yet once again, the United States has initiated conflict. Look at the disasters they inflicted upon Afghanistan and Iraq and Libya. Left behind hundreds of thousands of people dead, devastated cities, communities, and civilization. And then they had the luxury that you and I don't have. Pack the bags and run. And that's what they do best. And that's what they will do again.
You said that, and it's completely true, that Trump doesn't know basically how to end this war that he started. There is now talk of arming the Kurds and sending them in as proxies for American troops who will not put their own boots on the ground. What might be the implications if that actually happens?
You see, the Americans have used and misused the Kurds several times. They are the saddest people in contemporary West Asia. They are the people who lose their lives for causes whose sponsors do not have any regard or respect for them. Recall here that in 1991, after the first Iraq war against Saddam Hussein, the Kurds had been mobilized and the Shia were mobilized. Very quickly, the Americans abandoned the Shia, though allowed the Kurds to get some autonomy, abandoned the Shia, and very large numbers of them were killed. Again, in the case of Syria, the Americans promised autonomy and support to the Syrian Kurds. At a certain time, Donald Trump, in his first term, abandoned the Kurds and said that the guardian of the region will be the Turks. As far as Iran is concerned, I do not believe the Kurds have any unity of purpose. They have no reason to rise against their mother country. They have been treated very well. They are an integral part of the community and society. As far as the Iraqi Kurds are concerned, they are deeply divided between the Barzani and Talabani. And according to my own information, the Talabani are very close to Iran. So I think that this is a very desperate, futile, indeed useless initiative. If the Americans are so desperate to put to war against another country, have the courage to not use these very fragile proxies. Go ahead and take the beating that is in store for you.
Let me end by
This happened
asking
in
you.
Afghanistan, and this happened in Iraq, and this will happen once again in Iran once they get it.
Yeah, I mean, the history is testimony to the fact that wherever the Americans have tried regime change, they have left the country in a worse place than it was in when they came in. My last question to you is: do you see any off ramp or any contours of an off ramp at this moment?
There is no evidence of this just yet. I would share with you my personal perceptions of how things are likely to go in the near future.
Yes.
Number one, I can say with complete confidence the Islamic order is not going to break down. Iran is not Iraq. In the case of Iraq, you had a one man rule, a dictator, Saddam Hussein. Once Saddam Hussein was decapitated, the system broke down. But you did not have a smooth transition that had been promised to George Bush Jr. by those absolutely wicked Iraqis who had met him and the neocons who were pushing the agenda. There was no roses all the way. And the Americans had a miserable time in Iraq during
What
their
about the
occupation.
protest? What about the street protests against the regime?
That is all. This is part of misinformation. Overwhelmingly, the Iranian people are absolutely stunned at the reckless manner in which their revered supreme leader has been assassinated. Remember, here you yourself were there when the Iraqis were shown celebrating Saddam Hussein's fall, when he actually had not fallen. This was part of the misinformation at that time to demoralize the Iraqis. So let's not waste our time on that. Consistently, the Americans have used proxies and consistently they have let those people down because they are cannon fodder as far as they are concerned. If they let them put their own feet on the ground, and we shall see the consequences of that. Then that is when the body bag will start going. So, according to me, there will be no fall of there will be no end of the Islamic Republic. Number one. Number two, I have serious doubts about Donald Trump's stamina and attention span. I can't see him fighting this war for 4 weeks or 6 weeks. At some
Mhm.
stage, he will desperately need to declare victory and back off, as Bush Jr. had done. Mission accomplished. That's when the
Mhm.
war began. And that is where you had the rise of extremist elements like Abu Musab Zarqawi, and you had the Islamic State. So I feel that something will happen. Maybe Turkey will take a peace initiative, maybe Saudi Arabia, maybe some other a group of countries persuade Donald Trump that he has won. Iran is likely to come forward in a constructive way and you are likely to have a nuclear agreement and a ballistic missiles agreement of the kind that was presented to him, but he did not, he ignored it at that time. I
Yeah.
believe that following all this, you may have a situation where you have a new leadership in Iran. I personally would like to believe it would be much more moderate, much more accommodative, and much more constructive as far as neighborhood is concerned. I also believe that China and Russia are likely to play a major role in the future of this order. Yes, Israel will continue to feel disgruntled and want to go to war once again because that is what they do best. But I don't think that the Americans will encourage them too much. Which way things will go in Israel, I cannot predict at this stage because you have the presence of Mr. Netanyahu, who is a very wily individual and will not give up power easily. So we will see. But I am hope that within 2 weeks a peace process is initiated that enables Donald Trump to say that he brought peace into the region and once again claim the Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, that's the only thing to giggle about in this very grim time.